at CJC 11, 211, pardon me, CJC 211, and specifically page 41. Have you got it, Colonel?
I have, sorry.
So am I right that this is the SAP 13 register?
This is definitely SAP 13 register.
And we see on the left-hand column on that page the date 9 July 2021. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then and then it says which station in the second column. And it lists the crime, dealing in drugs.
Correct, Commissioner.
And then the third column is the column that describes the exhibits that are booked in to the register.
Indeed, correct.
And it starts at 3.1.
Correct.
Can you just, we don't need to go through every single one, but can you just describe to us what's contained here in 3.1 to the end?
3.1 describes one, in brackets 1, times sealed bag with serial number PAB 000297151 containing 18 times 1 kilogram bricks. I can't read that word, suspected cocaine. Possible suspected cocaine.
Right, so that's 3.1. So each entry, if we look down that column, it goes all the way to 3.49. There's one page duplicated, but if you go all the way down, scroll down, it goes to 3.49.
Correct, Commissioner.
Now, I've counted these, and in fact, it amounts to 684. I don't know whether you've checked this count.
I haven't checked it, no.
It amounts to 684 bricks, a total 684 bricks. But I think the reason for that is if you look at 3.12, page 43, Chair.
Yeah, they didn't write in the number of bricks.
Correct. And if you cross-check that exhibit bag number with Morris's statement, you'll see it's meant to be 16. And we'll look at that in a moment. So, in fact, the amount should be 700, not 684, if you add in the 16. But 700 is also not 715. And in your statement, you said there were 715. Can you just explain that discrepancy between the SAP 13 register and...
I cannot, because I was not present when this was handed in. I don't know if they omitted by counting some other bricks, just by just handing in the bag itself. But on scene, it was reported to me that there's 715 bricks.
And do you know why they don't put the total at the end of the entries? I mean, it would
make your life harder.
Life easy for everybody, because when you read this many years down the line, I would expect that 3.1 to 3. Whatever, at the end they would tally all of them together and say total equal to...
I will agree with you, Commissioner. That would have been much easier. But again, remember, I was not there when they wrote in when this exhibits were booked into the SAP 13.
But if you have this history of exhibits going missing while in police custody, surely it would help if, when they are first booked in, there's a proper entry and they are tallied and a total number is inserted there.
I would agree with you, Commissioner. I think if we have a look at Morris and Norke's statement, they kept record of this, so they must have been, I don't know if one was just missed or something, but I totally agree with you, Commissioner. That would indeed make a lot of sense, sir.
So, I mean, the question from Commissioner Khumalo is important because it is about maintaining the chain of custody and the evidence, integrity of the evidence, which will help to secure a successful prosecution down the line. So each step along the way here is hugely important. It might seem very small, but it's not. So the error in the SAP 13 register at 3.12 looks like it was just an error if one does a cross-check, but it could become significant.
Yes.
And it's an important thing to get correct, and I think that's where why this question is quite important. But so what we have is the SAP 13 register, which amounts to 684, but let's say, well, we've seen 3.12, it was just an omission of 16, so it actually totals 700. But you say it should actually be 715. If we go to Warrant Officer Morris's statement, it is a warrant officer, am I right?
Morris was a warrant officer, yes.
So that would be CJC 206. And it starts at page 16. And the relevant part for us, although you're welcome to take us anywhere else in the statement if you wish, but if I could ask you to have a look at paragraph 9. In fact, the first thing I should probably do is explain my own thinking. So, the SAP 13 register, you don't need to go back there because there's a lot of flipping of pages. But that 3.12, the exhibit number, was 296842. 296842. And if you look at paragraph 9 of Morris's statement, under from the 6th sports bag, the second entry, you'll see 296842.
Yes.
Exhibit number. And it says 16 packages.
16 packages.
Yeah. So I'm just explaining to you where I got the number 16 from, because that's the same exhibit number, and that's the 16 that had been omitted, right? Okay. So here in paragraph 9, what is Officer Morris describing?
Officer Morris is describing how many of those blocks were packed into a specific unique forensic bag with a specific unique serial number. And then later, towards, no, sorry, that was 14. Yeah, that was what he describes in paragraph 9.
Right. Now, on my count, that adds up to 700, not 715.
Okay.
So it tallies with the SAP 13 register, 700. But then where does 715 come from? I still don't then have an answer to the discrepancy.
I think Commissioners, I think it will just be good and well for Warrant Officer Morris and Norkia to explain that discrepancy, because on scene they reported to me 715 blocks. And if you go further and you look at my statement, these blocks out of experience usually weighed around weighs around a kilogram each. And when it was handed into forensics, and I think we'll probably come to that, sorry for jumping the gun now, getting ahead of myself.
No, I am also looking at paragraph 11 of your statement, at top of page 4. And you are dealing with, I think, the handing over to FSL.
That's correct.
And you say the drugs, upon being handed in, weighed 715,86 kg.
Exactly right, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I'm not sure to what extent, if at all, that tallies with the 700 bricks.
715 was handed in, and it weighed 715.88 kilograms.
But what I'm saying is, Ms. Hassim has taken us to 2 places.
That
And
indicates
the calculation is that at both places there was 700. So what I'm saying is, I don't know how one is able to relate those 2 700 counts to the 715,86 in paragraph 11 of your statement.
I totally concur. Well, I see what you're saying, Commissioner. And as I indicated, it was reported to me, I didn't count the bricks.
Yeah.
It was reported to me that there was 715 bricks counted on scene.
Maybe if
I can only testify to what I've got knowledge on.
Yeah.
If I can complicate things further, if we go to CJC 210, it's the statement of Captain Modise, the 212, section 212 statement, and it starts at page 36. Okay. So just to begin with, Captain Modise is the forensic analyst in the lab, correct?
Yes.
And she provides a statement to record that she received the evidence bags, right?
That's correct, Commissioners.
And if we look at paragraph 3 of her statement, she says, during the execution of my official duties on 21 July 2021, I received 49 sealed evidence bags with unique numbers, and then she lists all of the serial numbers. And we know there were 49 bags. But the last sentence of that paragraph says the total number of solid substance blocks was 715. And I find that peculiar because we know that there were 700 because Morris said so and the SAP 13 register says so, and we can count them up. How is it that Captain Modise then comes to 715? How do we understand, what are we to make of that discrepancy?
Again, Commissioners, I would submit that Warrant Officer Morris and Captain Orkia should answer on that, because it's also clear here that for her to say this is the number of blocks, and for her to be able to do this analysis, she would have opened these evidence bags and literally count the blocks. That's how she also came to 715. So Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris should explain why this discrepancy of 15 blocks.
Because when they're handed into the SAP 13 clerk, the clerk is also doing the count, right?
Yeah.
And at paragraph 6 of Captain Modise's statement, if we look at that, the last sentence, if you could just read the last sentence, please.
An average mass of one solid substance block was 1001,20 grams. Thereafter, the total estimated mass of the exhibit's material was 715,86 kilograms.
There I've underlined estimated because I think they are dealing with the actual substance, and I would think they are doing the weighing and they are doing everything. So the estimated surprised me, but I'm just making an observation. Please continue, Ms. Hassan.
Chair, it's also peculiar that it's an estimate because it's 715.86, which is not an estimate. But what we have, the point of this being a discrepancy in the it exhibits the number of bricks and the weight of the bricks, and how the count at when it's booked into Boyson's, and then when it gets to the lab.
I can see that, Commissioners, yeah.
Okay. So I need to then take you back. So what we know is that the bags were counted, sealed, taken to Boyson's, checked into the register.
Correct.
All of that totally in accordance with protocol.
Absolutely, Commissioners, yes.
Yes. But then, can you read paragraph 10 of your statement?
Paragraph
10
of my statement.
of your statement, yes. So it was a Friday, as I understand it.
Yeah, the 9th was a Friday, indeed.
Right.
That's correct, Commissioners. Throughout the weekend following the operation, I was contacted by the station commander of Boyson's, Brigadier Jones. He raised concerns of safety for the exhibits and requested me to have it removed as soon as possible. On Monday, 2021, 07:12, I phoned FSL again and requested if they could take in the exhibits. They still were not able to assist with the storage of the exhibits. As Captain Sebola was busy with the case docket at court, I continued to assist with the matter concerning the exhibits. I phoned Brigadier Naika, the National Coordinator for SANEP, for assistance. He indicated to me that he's got access to safe storage at a base at the the SAPS College in Pretoria. I arranged members of my team, including the two that were dealing with the exhibits from the outset, to meet me at Boyson's SAPS. I also arranged a number of SAPS Highway Patrol members to the mentioned safe storage. The exhibits were booked out by Captain Safe Leave state enough because